My name is Keith Launchbury, and I'd like to talk to you about planning for the future. Most of what we know today about planning comes from the past. History. These are some of the concepts that were developed historically that have helped us improve planning. But as we learn from the past, we must also plan for the future. On the surface, planning looks deceptively easy. All you have to do is balance supply with demand. But planning is not so easy in the real world because the planner does not control demand or supply. And the business world today is dynamic. Demand is changing rapidly and supply often cannot respond quickly enough. Why is this happening? Because customers expect quick deliveries. But global supply chains have lengthened our product lead times. Delays accumulate across global supply chains and put more product at risk during transit, which increases our dependence on sales forecasts, which we know will be wrong. So if planning starts with flawed assumptions, such as every month is the same number of days, historical trends that we've seen in the past will continue into the future, all sales follow normal distribution curves, we can predict an average of a range of sales numbers, and this sales forecast will be accurate. Then we load our planning systems with these forecasts. Any error at the top level is multiplied all the way down the bill of materials to the lowest level of components. We then execute purchase and production commitments based on incorrect information. So we make and buy the wrong things. Planners have no choice but to resort to spreadsheets to try and track changes to demand and supply outside of the formal system. This creates chaos and confusion and leads to the worst of both possible worlds, what we call the bimodal distribution of inventory, where we oscillate between having too much inventory or too little, excess inventory, and product shortages. The question is, again, why? Because planners are using the wrong tool for the job. They're using tools that were developed in the 1960s when this was the leading edge of office communications. And the world of technology has changed, the world of computers has changed, and the world as we know it has changed. So it's now time for a new approach. John Maynard Keynes, the economist, said, "It is better to be roughly right than precisely wrong." DDMRP is an approach based on John Maynard Keynes' theory, which is better to be roughly right. So it's a theory developed by Carol Patek and Chad Smith that has been put into practice as a proven planning and execution method for today's complex and volatile supply chains. So what is demand-driven planning? Demand-driven planning is a visual product flow positioning and protection system designed to improve business performance and increase return on working capital. It does this by providing buffers that are used to protect product flow, and we have visualization of flow at every stage in the supply chain operation. Buffers absorb variability from both a supply point of view and also a demand point of view. And in addition to that, they can also reduce management variability and operational variability. All this does is increase product flow to market. And as we know, if you increase product flow to market, then what you will get is increased profit in return. But there are challenges to product flow. Some companies have a drive to reduce unit cost or a desire to maximize output. The whole concept of minimum order quantities and the need to create replenishment in batches. Departments often work at cross purposes, and some companies are obsessively focused on utilization and efficiency instead of flow. And the fact that we have global supply operations makes things more complex. So the companies that implement demand-driven planning and execution can see realistic results in a fairly short time frame. Demand-driven planning elevates your business performance. Lead times are reduced, customer service is increased, product shortages are reduced, inventory levels become optimized, there's reduced product at risk in transit, and expediting costs are reduced. And this all leads to significant return on investment. And here's one example from one company, just on one item alone. They cut their inventory from having way too much that's in the deep red to coming into the optimal zone, the green zone, within the space of 3 months. And they cut their inventory by 50%. And this is fairly typical. You will increase customer service and reduce wasted inventory because your inventory is necessary to keep your product flowing to the market. So don't get stuck in the past. Become a world leader in your business. The future is clear. Your supply chain must become a demand-driven flow system, and if it does, then you will have significant competitive advantage over your competitors. If you'd like more information, you can go to our website, www.demanddriveninstitute.com.